Hey, this is LOA Today, the Law of Attraction show. Welcome to LOA Today. My name is Walt Thiessen. Today is Friday, July the 5th, 2013. And with me today is Sophia Stafford of Derbyshire in the UK, who I ran into on a website called powerfulintentions.org because she posted a very interesting story there. She told the story of how she unwittingly used the law of attraction to, well, I'm not even going to tell you. I'm going to let her tell you the story. So, Sophia, welcome to the program.
Hi.
So tell us from the beginning. Give us all the details, all the juicy details. How did this come about and what happened?
Well, basically, I was in a job that, like most people, that I didn't love. And it was tiring and it was just awful. I didn't want to leave it, though, because of the economy at the time. Everyone's looking for jobs and it's pretty hard to come by.
Sure.
I'd never heard of the law of attraction before, but I now realise that I was using it back then. I was thinking negative thoughts. The company wasn't doing great and was letting a lot of people go.
Now, what kind of work were you doing before?
I started off as an accounts assistant, but as they started making more people redundant, they kept giving me more roles. So by the end of it, I was an accounts assistant, I was a secretary, I was the buyer. I was covering a lot of roles, basically, because, quite frankly, I was the cheapest.
Okay.
I was the youngest there, so they put a lot of work on me. So eventually, they did get me redundant. It happened very suddenly. I had to leave the very same day as they told me. I literally had to get my stuff and walk out the door.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was a horrible feeling. But say, without knowing it, I used the law of attraction to attract the job I'm in now that I really love, and it's really amazing.
So walk us through the steps. You've just been removed from the building of your old job. What happens?
Well, I booked half a day, and he called me in and said, he basically told me that they had to make me redundant because of job losses and things. I went home and I cried. It was the shock, I think, of it really got to me. So I let all the emotion out. And afterwards, I remember it was in July, and the day was so beautiful. I remember just sitting in my room, and I thought, no, today I'm going to make this a good thing. I'm going to make it positive. So what I did is I wrote down all the things that I wanted in my job. Basically, at the time, to make it easier to look for it, because I didn't know.
You know, that's quite a quick reversal you made there, and obviously the perfect one to make. But what caused you to decide to practically turn it around on a dime? On the one hand, you're sad, and on the other hand, no, I'm not going to be sad, I'm going to be happy. How did you do that?
Well, I had a good cry, which is very important. I let all the emotion out. And then I realised that I wanted to leave my job for quite a while, as I said, but the economy, I didn't dare. So I thought, well, actually, it's kind of a good thing. Maybe this is what I need to push me to get the job that I want.
Okay.
I had been very unhappy there for quite a while, with a lot of pressure, and it wasn't the money I wanted, and just many things. So after about a couple of hours, it was, of crying, I decided to write it down just to get my head focused, because I was everywhere, I couldn't focus, I was upset, and there was no one around me at the time, everyone was at work, and I didn't want to tell anyone.
Sure.
I felt a bit, it was not very nice. So what I did was I was going away that night, and I was flying out to Ireland for the weekend, and I wasn't sure whether to go or not, because of the money situation. And I just lost my job. And I decided that, no, this was going to be good. I was going to have this perfect weekend, and I was going to think about what I wanted from a job after I made my list. And I was just going to have a good time. And I did. I went, and it was amazing. And it really put me in a right frame of mind to come back and start really job hunting.
Now, did you actually make a written list?
Yes, I wrote it down. Yes. I wrote things. I was actually quite specific. Because, as I said before, I wasn't in an actual department. I was kind of given many things. I decided I wanted to be in accounts. I wanted a big company that really looked after the people, because the company I was in before was quite small, but it treated people badly. It was very nice. So that was important to me. I wanted to work with people my own age and people that I liked, because over the years I worked with amazing people before, but eventually all of them got made redundant. So I was working on my own all day. in this big office just on my own. So I wanted a nice open plan office where I could speak to people and actually speak to people. And I wanted to do some studying as well. My old company said that they couldn't afford me to put me through any studying. And because I was in so many departments, I wouldn't even know which road to take, which one was more important.
Sure.
So I wanted to do some studying as well, so I put that down there. And so yeah, it wasn't anything to do with the law of attraction, it was just so it made me focus more on what I wanted and what I was looking for.
Which of course is essential to the law of attraction, even though you didn't know it.
Exactly, yes. So I didn't even realise what I was doing, but it was amazing at the time because it really did just focus me. And as I said, it was great. When I came back off the weekend away, I started job hunting. But I can't, it's really hard to explain, but I wasn't nervous. I wasn't scared that I was jobless in a tough economy. I was really at peace. I thought it was a bit of a holiday, a bit of a vacation.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. People, it was funny because every time I told somebody that I'd lost my job, that I'd always get like a sympathetic look. And they'd always say, oh, are you okay? It's okay, you'll find a job. And I'd just say, oh, I know I will. That's fine. I'm going to find an amazing job. And it kind of confused people a little bit. But I can't explain it. It was just, I knew. It was a knowing, I guess.
So it was almost an intuition then.
Yes, exactly. I just trusted in something. I guess the law of attraction.
I guess so, yeah. Well, it obviously worked. Now, how long did it take? I mean, were you waiting for days, weeks, months?
Well, I was without a job for a month, all in all, and it was through the summer, and it was a really beautiful. It was one of the hottest summers that I think we've ever had.
Wow.
So I genuinely saw it as a holiday. I sunbathed. I saw it as a time to do things that I didn't have chance to do otherwise. Errands and things that I'd never got round to doing. And then during this period, 3 different people contacted me saying that they owed me money. And over the month, I received about £1,700, which was more than I would normally receive from the paycheck.
Wow.
Yeah, so that made it. I think that was one of the main things why I wasn't scared, because the money part, it just came to me. Like money was literally being brought to me for doing nothing, basically.
And it was all a surprise. None of it was anticipated.
Yeah, none of it. No, I got a call when I came back off the weekend away saying there was a possibility I might be owed something, but I was like, I doubt it. And then they asked me in a week later, and I got £1,000 straight away a week later.
Wow.
So like, oh well, this is going to pick me over, kind of thing. And just after that, more people kept contacting me, and I ended up with quite a bit of money. So that actually really helped and took a lot of the stress off, because I wasn't worrying about paying my bills and things.
Oh, I can well imagine.
Yes, definitely. I mean, even people just really, really were helping. I went to my bank, before I knew I was going to get this money, I went to my bank to explain the situation. And they took care of everything. Like, I've never seen a bank people be so helpful. They were calling people for me and letting people know they sorted out my bank, everything. They just really helped. And I generally didn't have to do anything. And so my credit score wasn't affected if my money went down or anything. It was all amazing, really. Just people were taking the pressure off me.
Now, which was it first, do you think? Was it your attitude first, or was it the events first?
My attitude, definitely.
It was, okay, which is exactly what the LOA teachers teach us, so it makes sense, yeah. But it's actually good to hear you confirm that. Yes,
definitely. I mean, because I also made a conscious decision that me being upset wasn't going to help anything. Sure. Me crying all day wasn't going to get me my job back. It wasn't going to help any matters. I'd rather be jobless and happy than jobless and sad. So I made that conscious choice, I think, and that really helped. I don't think any of this would have happened if I didn't have that frame of mind. I really don't.
Now, did you have any challenges to that frame of mind during that month?
Yes. When I was expecting some money from what I was owed from my old previous job for the time that I'd actually worked, I went to my bank the day I was supposed to get paid, and nothing was in it. And so I was a bit shocked, and I called my manager, and he was like, oh, didn't we tell you? Yeah, sorry, you're not going to get that money. And that really shocked me and really kind of upset me. But that very same day, my old manager actually offered me my job back. He said, well, why are you here? Actually, we were thinking, and
it's an interesting sales pitch. He's not going to pay you, but he wants to give you your job back.
Exactly. So I was pretty shocked, and I knew that wasn't the job that I wanted because I'd been there and I'd done it and I was unhappy.
Right.
And so I said no. I turned the job down, which everyone thought was crazy at the time because they were like, well, just take that job and look for another one. I was like, no, I'm fine. I have enough money now and I'm fine. So it was a bit upsetting because as much as my manager did put a lot on me, I was his friend, you know. I really did like him on a personal level, and I worked with him for 4 years. And so that was quite sad, I think, that it ended on a sad tone.
Yeah.
He did give me my job back, which was a test, I think. I could have quite easily have gone back and just forgotten.
Talk about that for a minute, the fact that you think it's a test.
Yeah, I think that obviously I'd have some times where I'd lie in bed at night and panic. And I think that the universe, I think now, at the time I didn't, but I think now that we get tested and on everything, and it's up to us to make the right choices. And if we stick to our beliefs and we know deep down that good things are going to come and we just stick on the path, then they will. But I think sometimes it's easier to take the easy way out, and, you know, I think fear as well. Fear could have made me take my old job back because I'm scared of the unknown. I could have been without a job for years.
Oh,
but,
sure.
Yeah, I had faith in something that I'd get this job, and I did. So yeah, I think we get tested daily, I think.
And it is amazing just how powerful fear can be. So when you can overcome it the way you did by just putting it aside and saying, nope, I'm not going to be governed by that's a very significant thing.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So a month passes, and then what happens?
I was going on a few interviews. I think I went for 3 interviews, and none of them were. I went. I thought, well, maybe this is the job that I want. But then certain things didn't stick out. Like I did say, have any questions? And I said, yes. What do you think about training? And they'd say, oh, well, maybe in the future, but you know, not quite now. And I'd be like, oh, okay, okay. And I didn't get it. And but it didn't deter me because I thought, well, I didn't really love it anyway. I didn't really love the sound of that job anyway. And well, the pay wasn't right, or it was a million miles away to travel and things. So I went for 3 interviews. I got a part-time job with which I was quite dubious about taking. But I thought these people were lovely, and they said, yes, it's only going to last a month, but it's fine. And I was there, and I met some really amazing people while I was doing this part-time job. And I didn't think about it. It was a really, really good time. I was there for a week, I think, 2 weeks. 2 weeks I was there for. And I got a call about a job that I didn't even remember applying for. And they said, it's literally around the corner from you, and it's the right money you want, and it's an account. So I was like, oh, okay then, well, I'll go. And I went for an interview, and everything just sounded perfect. The money was right. The people were so lovely in the interview. I kept thinking, oh, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the job that I really wanted. And then I said, what do you think about training? Is that a possibility? And they were like, oh, yes, definitely. You know, 2 people here already are going through courses around your age. And it was a big open plan office, and I could see myself working there. I got so excited as I left. I was shaking as I was calling my mum, telling her that this is it. This is the job that I wanted.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really amazing. And I drove off, and I spoke to all my family, and they were like, did you get it? And I was like, not yet, no. They're not calling back yet, but they will. This is it. This is my job.
You were sure they were going to call you back?
Well, I really wanted it. I don't think I'd ever wanted anything as much as I wanted that. And as I was driving home, I got a call. And I didn't take it because I was driving. And I called back when I got home, and they offered me the job then and there.
Wow.
To start in 2 weeks, which was perfect because I didn't want to let my new friends down, the job I was currently in. And I've only been there for this other job for, say, 2 weeks before, and they threw me a big party for leaving.
Wow.
Yeah, it was my birthday as well, the day that I left. It was my 20th birthday, I think. And they made me a massive cake. And it was just amazing. It was a really great send-off to a future that I was just so excited about.
That is just terrific. I mean, it's one great thing after another that you're talking about here.
When I talk to people now about it, and I say, oh, well, you remember I was without a job for a month. And they say, well, yeah, it wasn't really like you were out of a job though, was it? You were kind of a bit on holiday. And I say, yeah, it was a bit. So that's how people describe it now.
So how long have you been at this very happy job?
2 years. I've been at 2 years.
And I suspect you're going to be there for quite some time to come.
Yeah, definitely. They're an amazing company to work for. And another thing that was on my list as well was obviously they treated their employees right. And that was a big thing because before, it wasn't great. And I was at my new company for about 2 months, I think it was, 2 months. And we reached the target. So we had a massive party and a massive hog roast just for them to say thank you.
Wow.
For making us deal. And I remember I sat there and I was like, wow, yes, this is my job. This is definitely the job.
and has it held up in the years since then?
Yes, it has. I've started my accounting degree. I guess it's an AET in accounting, so I'm going to be a trained accountant in 4 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm working with great people that I like going to work every day. I think it's a massive thing. I really do.
Well, now that you have this whole LOA thing mastered, what's next on your list?
Well, when I realised that it was, because I remember reading up on it, thinking, oh my God, I did this. Oh my God, I did that. Oh my God, I've used this before. And I was a bit freaked that I used it so well and that it worked out for me. I'm not sure if I'd have believed it if I hadn't seen it, if it hadn't happened and unraveled in front of my eyes. It's hard as well because it's hard getting into that frame of mind again. I was in a very unique frame of mind, but I want a relationship. I think the next one on the list.
Okay. Have you worked out your list of criteria? What you're looking for in a mate?
Yes, I did it last week. I've written my list.
My wife would love to hear that because that's how she says she ended up finding me. So.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
That's amazing. I need to speak to your wife about it. Because, as I said, at the time, it was no pressure because I didn't know what it was. I just trusted in something that I was going to get this job and everything was going to be fine. And, I think that's the hardest part, trusting, I think, because it's to ignore what's going on around you and just trust in the things that are coming. Which is when you've got a job, is obviously you've got bills coming through the door that you're thinking, how am I going to pay this? And, everyone's going to work all the morning and you're not. And so I think it's really hard to ignore the actual circumstances around you. But as long as you do that, I think you're fine. The law of attraction is really quite simple. I think we try and complicate it a lot.
I think you're absolutely correct on that. And, of course, the simplest things are often the hardest things to do. So it's easier said than done, as the saying goes.
Yes, exactly. Which is why I was thinking it worked so well because I wasn't overthinking it. I did it and I felt what was right and I kind of went on my gut and the feeling, which is why I think it works so well.
That's a good phrase you just used. You weren't overthinking it. That's a really good way of describing it.
Yes, I think now there's a million books, there's a million websites, and everything's telling us different things. But I think we really overcomplicate it. Just go with what feels right, do what makes you happy, and don't worry about anything. Well, worry, but don't overthink it, and just go with it. I think really the main thing about the law of attraction.
And you seem to be applying it quite well.
Oh, thank you. I try.
I'll tell you my wife's story about how she and I met. We actually met quite late in life. We married in our early mid-40s. And before we had met, both of us had long stretches without that kind of relationship we were both looking for. As my wife likes to describe it, it's a case of holding out for what you really want, which is very similar to the story you were just telling about finding the perfect job.
Don't settle.
Anyway, she had a black cat for 16 years, and he passed away 6 months before we met. And it, of course, broke her up like crazy. But afterward, her friends asked her, so are you going to get another cat? And without even thinking about it, her immediate reply was, no, I'm going to get a husband.
Oh. Well, that's a great frame of mind to be in, you think. That's the frame of mind you need to be in.
And it worked. 6 months later, we met through a mutual friend. In fact, she was actually quite aggressive about trying to find that person because she just started talking to everybody she knew. She said, I'm looking for an emotionally healthy male. Do you know any? She just kept, I think the amazing part is she kept going to people who said no, 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 no.
They're actually a lot harder to find than you think.
I guess so.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I need to do that. I think, yeah, I need to just get into the frame of mind again.
And the really funny thing is she ended up asking somebody who was a mutual friend somebody that she worked with but didn't really know very well, and was not somebody she would normally befriend, not somebody that she would normally associate with. This mutual friend is very new agey and very kind of a little bit out there in a number of different ways. It really didn't fit her, and it really didn't fit me, and yet we both knew hers. But she didn't let that deter her. She asked her anyway. And as soon as she asked Debbie, she said, "Sure, I know somebody."
There you were. Oh, wow. You see, I think that's the thing. You shouldn't worry about how it's going to come to you, but just know that it is, I think, the main thing. That
and turning over every stone like she did.
Yes, exactly. I think that's what with the law of attraction. A lot of people just kind of sit down and wait, they want to become a millionaire, so they sit down and they do all the law of attraction things and then wait for the money to come with them. But I think you have to actually take action. Like your wife, she went looking for it, and she found you.
That's right. That's right.
If I didn't go for my interviews, I wouldn't have got the job.
That's true. Yeah, it's kind of hard to get jobs when you don't interview.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you need to have some action and get up and just do it, knowing that the outcome's going to be great.
Now, how long was it between the point where you got the job and the point where you first learned about something called the law of attraction and learned what it was? What was that time period?
That time period, what was it? I started in August, and it was just before Christmas.
Oh, okay, so just a few months later.
Literally just a few months later. I can't remember, what was I doing? I was just Googling things. I was on the internet, and I had heard about the law of attraction, but I didn't fully understand it. And then 2 days later, I was watching TV, and Oprah came on, and it was on about The Secret. And then, so I Googled The Secret, and I learned through it that way. And then I didn't actually pick up at first. What I'd done with my job was actually the law of attraction. It was about a month I was reading it, and I was looking more into it and seeing what it actually entails and things like that. And then I realised that I had used it before, and it is real. Mm-hmm. And I can think of little points in my life when I've used it, not as effectively, but when I've definitely used it. I say if I was thinking about a person, I remember something very clear that me and my friend were talking about somebody that we hadn't seen in years. And 2 days later, I saw him on a bus, and I thought, that's really strange. I was talking about you the other day. Mm-hmm. And 2 days later, I saw him again, and it turned out we worked like 3 doors down from each other. And we kept bumping into each other after we were talking about him. And just little things like that, I thought, I've attracted these things into my life without knowing it. Because the law of attraction is working all the time. If you're using it for your advantage or not, it's working.
I think that's one of the really fun things about the first time that you discover the whole concept of The Secret, the law of attraction, and you start looking at your own life just the way you described and saying, you know what, I do recall times where there was that synchronicity going on. It just kind of seemed to happen that way.
Yes, exactly. That's the same thing. And I did use the law of attraction in a negative way with my previous job. When they were making people redundant, I was constantly thinking, I'm going to be next, and then I wasn't, and I thought, oh, yay! And then, the next time, I remember walking in, and there was a letter on my desk, and my breath literally stopped, and I thought, oh, God, this is it, I'm being made redundant. And it wasn't, it was a letter about, like, the bins or something. But it was just the fear, because I was expecting it, and it did come. Yep. And it did get made redundant, so, it's just things like that. It's crazy how many people use law of attraction in a day, really, without even realising it.
Yeah, it actually affects every single minute of our day. The hard part is tracking it all.
Yes, exactly. I read a book recently, and it says, try and not think one negative thought in a day. And then I kept catching myself as I was thinking all these negative things that I was doing subconsciously. I wasn't even realising I was doing it until I noticed it, until I took notice. And I think that's the way a lot of people are programmed now, to see the bad in things. Expect bad things, and when you get a good thing, it's great. Expect bad things and you're not let down when the bad things come. But I think if we start expecting good things and start seeing the good things in the day instead of the bad, and start seeing the positives instead of complaining, a lot of people will be a lot more happier.
I agree with you. I think you're absolutely right. And I especially agree that we're programmed to think negatively. I mean, the programming comes from all directions, really. It comes from the news. It comes from entertainment. It comes from school. It comes from parents. It comes from colleagues. It comes from enemies. It comes all over the place.
It really does. It really does. And when you're watching TV, and I've run up to been reading it. I've took a lot more notice of what's around me. And you see all these commercials on TV about debt. And, like, it's everywhere. Are you in debt? You're like, no. I feel like I am now. And you people, you think I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too tall, whatever. And I think that people should really just focus on positive. Since I found the law of attraction, I started doing a gratitude journal. And at first it was really hard. Like, I had no idea how hard it was to find something good in your day. Like, just a normal work day, just to find a positive in it. I think I've got better now. I'd like to think I have. But just that one thought that I couldn't think of one positive thing that had happened in that day was quite staggering, really. When to think I just been to work, I had a great day, really. But in my head, I couldn't think of a positive thing.
I know exactly what you mean. I haven't actually been keeping a journal, but I've been going through the exercise every day of just trying to come up with 3 positive things that happened during the day. And I can sometimes take 5-10 minutes trying to think of one.
Exactly. It's so hard. And you think, well, I'm blessed in so many ways. Why is it so hard? But it's because you're programmed to see the bad things. Yeah.
And that's exactly it. We are programmed to see the bad things, and we forget that the good things even happen, which is why the exercise is so important.
Yeah, so we focus on what we don't have instead of what we do, which I think is, a massive thing anyway. I think we should just live in the now and just appreciate things for now. Now, in my gratitude journal, it's got quite silly because I put things like, thank you for my house, thank you for my bed. I thank everything because I really, I really do see the greatness in the little things now, which I think is awesome. It's just that alone, being appreciative of having a house and running water.
That's far more than silly. I think that's quite essential, actually.
Yeah.
Pointing to the basics, of the simple things that are there every day and not taking them for granted.
Exactly. At the time when I first started, I thought, that's just silly. That's not really anything to be grateful for. It's just there. Well, I'm grateful that it's there now. So I think the gratitude as well is a major part in the law of attraction.
My standard thing when I just can't think of anything is, well, I'll just start with Louise because I'm grateful that I have her.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be grateful for those moments and relationships and everything. It's just.
And her comment is, well, you always have to have something more than that. You can't just make it me.
Well, she might be a great person. Oh, that's funny.
But it does help to have the little, it's like, I call them the safety positives.
Yeah.
You can't think of anything else, so go for one of your safety positives just so you can have one to kind of hang on to for a moment.
Yes, exactly. I understand completely. Just so you can think for a second, it doesn't look like you're not writing anything down. Like, you're thankful for your family. Write that down. then you can think more in depth.
That's right. And that's the way it works. It's kind of like opening up a dam, isn't it? Because once you get that first one going, then the second one comes easier.
Yeah, exactly. I always say, thank you for my health. And I'm like, then now I put, thank you for my hands working. And I had an ear infection the day. I was like, thank you for my ears.
Yeah, right.
I go down in such detail now. So thank you for every little thing. Because
I do the same thing with my eyes because my left eye, I have macular degeneration in it, so I really don't have any good vision in that eye. So
yeah.
I'm always thankful for my right eye because my right eye I can still see.
Exactly. See, most people will concentrate on the fact that they couldn't see in one eye, but constantly you can see in the other.
Including me a few years ago, I should say.
Oh yeah, you see, it's quite staggering when you think about it now. To think the way that you used to feel and you used to think, you almost I kind of brought these situations on myself. What was I doing?
I continue to be amazed as I look back at my own life at just how depressed I was.
Yes, definitely.
Because I didn't know it.
Yeah. 100%.
I didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah, you thought that it was normal to feel that way.
Right.
To look at, worry about money at night when really you didn't really have any money worries. And then you worry why you've never got, then you think, why have I never got any money? Because you're constantly worrying about it. And it's crazy to think that so many people are in that situation and are just digging themselves a deeper hole, the way they feel and they think. Another example, really, of I've taken a recently exam for my accounting course I'm doing. And I went in, and there's a young girl that was in my class. She was taking the exam at the same time, and she took so many notes. I mean, this girl was prepared. Like, I was a bit taken back at how prepared she was. Wow. And she kept saying to me, I'm going to fail. I know it, I'm going to fail. And I was like, no, don't think that. Don't think that. Trust me, don't think that. Go in there, positive. And she was like, no, I'm going to fail. Think about this. And she listed all the reasons we were going to fail. And me included. She was like, we've only had 3 lessons. And I was like, but they were good lessons. And she's like, yeah, but we don't even know this. I'm like, well, you do now. Study it now. And so when we went in, she kind of unnerved me a little bit, actually, because I went up so positive, and I actually went in a bit afraid. But I did pass that test, and she failed.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I know. And I kept thinking, but she was so prepared. She, it wasn't a lack of preparation at all. Like, she knew her stuff, but she went in with this attitude that she was going to fail before she even started. And she did.
We could even say that she prepared herself to fail.
Exactly, she was. She was thinking of excuses of why she'd failed when she hadn't even taken the test yet. That's exactly what she was doing. And I kept thinking, well, when she was used to law of attraction.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just the little things like that. It really was. It evokes my faith in it still. I know. When stuff like that happens, I'm like, well, this is real. This is actually happening. This isn't in my head. This is actually happening.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Well, Sophia, this has been wonderful talking to you and hearing about all of these experiences you've had in the last 3 years or so. Are there any last thoughts you'd like to leave with our audience before we sign off?
I'd say the best advice I could give is just go with what feels right.
Go with what feels right. Yeah, that's good advice all the time, isn't it?
Yes, I think it's going to do that, and it'll kind of lead you anywhere that's good, I think.
All right. Well, Sophia Stafford from Derbyshire, UK, thank you for joining us here on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.